us who you brought with you today.
All right. So over here to what would be my left is Brooke Beaucaire. She's a senior for us from California. And over here on my right-hand side is Evan Armstrong, a junior out of Colorado.
Coach, tell me about your program. What do you like best?
Um, Honestly, like we've been super fortunate that me going into my first year here as the director of the program, like we've had a pretty rich history, I think, in distance running, and so I walked into a great situation taking over, and so particularly on the women's side, have a lot of continuity coming back from last year's team. We won the conference on the women's side last year in the North Star, and are returning our top 8 runners from that. And so our results have shown so far to start the year, we've run really fast. And so I've been really excited with how we've run so far. And then honestly, on the men's side, I would say it was kind of a mystery before we got into the first race of the season as far as kind of where I thought we would maybe be, just with a lot of kids graduating from last year's team that finished second in the conference, and bringing in a lot of new people. And we've run awesome so far. I would say, honestly, overall, like the depth across both teams is probably our strong suit. We're able to have a full group, I would say, particularly on the men's side, where that top 7 are all pretty deep all the way across the board. I wouldn't say we maybe have a true just high stick that's minutes ahead of everybody else. We have a full pack of people that can keep that team time pretty low. And on the women's side, we've got a few really strong runners on the top end, that I would say are pulling along the entirety of the group. But overall, as a top 7, we've run really strong so far.
Coach, tell me your thoughts on the Frontier Conference. I
Yeah,
mean,
honestly, no, yeah, go ahead.
going from the North Star to the Frontier, good thing, bad thing. What do you think?
Well, I honestly, I really embrace it for the fact that, like, yes, there's obviously going to be a lot more competition. It's great. It's nice to have what will be a conference meet with more than 3 or 4 full teams running, which is nice. And I think honestly, the whole team has really embraced that as well. They know that although we were really successful in the North Star in previous years, like I said last year on the women's side, we won as a team. On the men's side, we finished second last year and had won a bunch of conference titles previously. Like, we know that we've got to step our game up to be able to continue to be competitive. And so we're really looking forward to it. And honestly, I think just mentality wise, all of the kids across the board day after day have taken that into what they do, mileage wise, workout wise. Like, we've kind of just preached the theme of just bringing an intensity to whatever we're doing on a daily basis. And I really think the kids have done that.
All right, Brooke, you've been smiling the whole time. I love it. From California to Madison, South Dakota. How in the world did that happen?
Definitely the coaches. I really liked how the previous coach, his philosophy, it was really similar to my high school, so I knew that it was something I could be able to be successful in. So.
Tell me, Brooke, what do you like best about head coach Alex?
Oh, God.
I love his humor. He's able to get along with us really well, and when you need someone to pump you up, he'll be there. So I really like that.
So, from California, your first meet you had in the snow. Tell us that story.
It was very cold. Wasn't used to it at all.
All right. Evan, where are you from, young man? What year in school are you, and what are you majoring in?
Yeah, so I'm from Aurora, Colorado, which is just outside Denver, Colorado. So I'm pretty used to a big city. Right now, I'm a third year in school, and I'm studying cyber operations here at Dakota State.
And what do you like best about Dakota State?
Yeah, I mean, I think the school it's really great in a couple of ways. I love on the academic side, it's one of the most accredited cyber operations programs in the country. So, for me, I love to run, but I got to focus on my academics as well. And for me, that's such a huge benefit is having such a highly accredited program for academics wise. And then when it comes to the athletic side, I knew that I could thrive in an environment like this where it's kind of a smaller team, maybe a smaller town. The guys that I've met are some of my best friends in life and will be, for the rest of the time. I've been to their weddings. They're going to come to mine. So I love everything about the school when it comes from the entire range.
Evan, How do you and your teammates get along? What do you like best about the team?
Yeah, I mean, right now there's a huge, it's when I first got here, it was so welcoming as a freshman. I was scared, I just moved in and my very first memory here is I moved into campus early because I was coming all the way from Colorado. The normal people don't move in yet. So I was the only person on campus at the time. And as I'm setting up my room, about 15 athletes bust in my door and kind of scare me. And they're like, "Hey man, have you run today yet?" I told them no, and then we went and we got our run done for the day. So from the very second I've been here, it was such a welcoming community. And, that's built over the years. And now, we know that coming to the Frontier Conference, all of us have this intensity about it that we want to be good. So we've had this like intra squad competition that, we all build each other up day over day, month over month. And it just brings like such a, the team aspect of it is so important to me because I feel like I'm not the only one who cares. I feel like every single guy from our number one to number two, number three, all the way down to, I think we've got 20 something guys on the team. Every single one of them comes to practice every day wanting to be better.
Evan, you're well spoken. Maybe politics in your future or sportscasting if you want to make the big bucks. Coach, what type of athletes on your roster? Where are you recruiting from?
Yeah, so Brooke obviously being from California and Evan being from Colorado, I would say generally that's not the norm as far as what we do recruiting wise. We just got super lucky and got these two from out of the area. Typically, we recruit pretty local. I'm a big believer in the majority of our roster, I think, can come from within a couple hours of us. I think, particularly in distance running, South Dakota has a lot of depth, across all those areas, 400 all the way up. And so I really like to recruit locally. I think it's easy to get kids to come on visits when they are as close as they are. I think Dakota State has a lot to offer just in terms of cost of school, facilities that we have. I think our coaching staff's really welcoming. And so I really like to kind of just start with that type of base and start within a couple hours of us and then branch off of that if we don't have our needs met as far as, within a couple of hours. So that, but generally, we do have a women's distance runner that's also from Latvia and have some other international students as well. Middle distance runner from Australia. But again, the general 95% of the roster is within a couple hours of us.
November 7th, Billings, Montana, 2025 Frontier Conference Cross Country Championship. Coach, what are the goals?
Yeah, so from day one of camp, Coach Hauge and I have talked about showing up to the conference and being as absolutely competitive as we can. We ran really, really well on the women's side last year, winning the North Star, and with us essentially returning the entirety of the team and adding some other strong runners to that group. I don't think there's any reason, as long as we stay healthy, that we can't contend to win a conference championship. And Dakota State, just as a whole on the women's side, really hasn't had much at the national meet, finished much higher than like 25th. And I honestly think with where we're at right now, if we continue to keep building off of the training we've done, that we could be a top 20 team at a national championship.
Brooke, I just checked the weather for November 7th in Billings. It's going to be 20 below zero. Will that be okay with you?
It'll have to work.
Dr. Crawford, what do you have for us?
Yeah, I'd like to hear from Coach about the races they've already participated in and races they'll be doing between now and November 7th in preparation for the Frontier Conference Championships.
Sure. So some of the big meets we've gone to, we opened up the season at the Augustana Twilight in Sioux Falls, one of the bigger meets that gets run in the Midwest. It's obviously an awesome race. I would say some of my compatriots in the Frontier thought that maybe the course was a little short because of how fast the times were run. But it's obviously a big course that a lot of races get run on, and so we were just fortunate that the elements were perfect. The course is flat. The weather was fantastic. It was like 50 degrees at the time the gun went off. And so we ran a lot of really fast times. A lot of PRs came from that race. Then a couple weeks later, we went down to Sioux Center, Iowa, and ran at Dordt University on their course. I've honestly been pretty strategic as far as the schedule throughout the year. Like every meet that we're going to throughout the regular season, I want to run against highly ranked teams. Okay, I'm a big believer when it comes to the Raiders that one of the things that they take most important is running against really strong competition, and so I didn't want to go to just some tiny little meet with a couple teams at it and not competitive. And so I wanted to make sure that we showed our best against some of the best teams in the country. Dort obviously being one of the best distance running schools in the country. I mean, this last week we ran at Briarcliff and they had 70 runners there running. So it's nice to go to those type of meets with a lot of strong competition. This week we'll actually go back down to Dort, much bigger meet this time than when we went the first time. I think there's a half a dozen Division I schools that'll be running at that. University of South Dakota State, Creighton, Omaha. Some of those schools are coming to that, and so really excited about that. Almost the entirety of the NSIC, that Division II conference, will be there as well as another 7 or 8 NAI schools. So really looking forward to the competition as that. I think that's going to be a really good marker just to kind of see where we're at. That's going to be no different than the competition you would see at like a national championship. There's going to be some very strong runners there. And then last regular season meet of the year, we'll go down to Lincoln to run the Blazing Tiger meet, and that'll be one of the bigger NAIA centric meets in the country during the year. And so that's really a meet where I'm hopeful, 2 weeks before the conference meet, we run really fast. There'll be another rating after that. And so I'm hoping as long as we can go down to that, run really fast, show ourselves against some of the stronger NAI teams in the country, that we can, particularly on the women's side, go get ourselves somewhere. I think we have a team strong enough to be somewhere in the top 20 in the NAI. And on the men's side, I'm hopeful that as we continue to build and get more fit, that we could be somewhere close to that receiving vote. So by the time we get to the conference meet, we could potentially put ourselves in position to either win the conference or get an at-large bid.
Coach Alex, well done. Evan, best of luck. Brooke, be nice to your coach. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.